Alrighty, guys, welcome to this presentation on turning goals into actions. This is more about creating winning habits that you can apply to your daily training to make sure that you are progressing towards your goals. So, we're not going to go over the goal setting process. That's in the previous stuff work that you've done in setting effective goals. So, what we're going to do is take those goals and now we're going to turn them into action plans. Okay, so this is where we're going with this. So I just wanted to start with this quote from this excellent man that I can't ever pronounce the name of, and I really resonate with this quote. So, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Now, this is super important in my opinion because it means that it's all very well to have a goal, write it up on a board, and look at it every day, and all these things that everyone always tells you to do. But if you haven't put out like actual plans to achieve that goal, then you're realistically you might as well just thought it in your head once and forgot about it. You need to actually take what you want to do, take the vision, the mission, and turn it into a plan. And using vision and mission is very effective ways of doing that. And we'll go into that in a bit later detail. So what we're going to do is use the next couple of steps. We will be able to take your goal and design a plan to effectively achieve that goal. Okay. So this is how it looks. So what we need to do is establish the dream. Where do you sit? So where are you at currently right now? And then we need to set out the mission. The mission is the major markers along the way that we need to get to and tick off. Then we need to establish what do we need to achieve that mission, and then we need to come up with the action steps. So that would be the objectives that you need to tick off to complete the mission. Okay, or the daily things that we need to work on. So what is the dream? The dream is your long-term goal. This is your vision. So, and when you're establishing this, you really need to dive deep into why you want to achieve that, and then ask yourself why 5 times. So, for example, it goes a little bit like this. Say if you wanted to, I want to become an Olympian. That's the dream. Okay. Well, why do you want to become an Olympian? It's something that I've always aspired to be. Okay. Why have you always aspired to be an Olympian? I just think that training for something and achieving something of that bigger scale is amazing, and it's something that's really motivating for me. Okay, so why do you hold those beliefs? Why do you think that something working for something that's really hard and then succeeding in it is good? It will make me a better person by developing better habits and routines that I can then apply to the rest of my life. Okay, why is that important? Well, because then it sets me up for life, regardless of what I want to do. Does that make sense? So you can kind of cascade those whys and ask yourself why a couple of times to get a true understanding of what you're trying to achieve and who you are and where you're at right now. Next step is, where do you sit? So this is where we're looking at the dream and we're going, okay, I want to become an Olympian, but right now I'm a 16-year-old kid who's just qualified for their first nationals and probably can make a national final this year, but probably won't make a team. So you're a fair way off that Olympic dream. So this will help us infer how many missions do we have to do and what's that time horizon going to be, so we can plan out and get you to where you want to be. How long will that take? That is what we're looking at. So how far you are away is how long it will take. And am I prepared for it? Are you prepared to potentially put 10 years of work into this, or longer, depending on what the vision is? What are you looking to do? And I strongly recommend you do this with your coaching team. Your coaching team will have a more realistic outlook of where you are. They have the experience. They should have the experience to know what it takes to become an Olympian, or what those action steps may look like, and what those time horizons may look like. So we're not just going, I want to make the Paris 2024 Olympics when you're a promising 16-year-old. Okay, we need to make sure that we're being realistic with these and planning it out, so we don't just set ourselves up for failure. Now, the mission. So this is the objectives along the way to achieving that. So if we take this, I want to be an Olympian example, and we've established that we're a 16-year-old at Age Nationals right now. Okay. So my next mission for the next year, I want to make the national final in my, say, 200 freestyle. Okay. I want to make national final in the 200 freestyle, and then we'll reevaluate from there and we'll go from there. Okay, so we go, okay, cool. Well, that's a good mission to have, and it's very clear. We're either going to do it or we're not. Like, there's a mission can't be wishy washy. So the vision is I want to be an Olympian. The mission has to be next year, I am going to do this. It's not next year I will potentially become a national finalist if this and this and this happen. It is next year I will be a national finalist in the 200 freestyle. Does that make more sense? So it's more about establishing clear parameters where it's a pass or a fail. You succeed in the mission or you fail the mission. How long will that take? Well, I'm looking at next year, so that's all good. And what do I need to achieve this mission? Now, this is where we kind of figure out what do we need to do. Okay, well, to win the 200 freestyle, for example, I need to go. This is completely off the top of my head. No idea about this is being right or not. I'll need to go 155 to make that national final, whatever it is. Okay, I'm currently sitting at a 159, so I've got 4 seconds that I need to take off this time. So that's a second per lap. Okay, what am I going to do that? I'm going to make sure that I hit pace more often. I'm going to make sure that my skills are at a national final level. So my turns, my underwaters, all those things are ready to go. Mentally, I might need some work. I might need to go find an S&C coach. What do I need for this to become a reality? If I'm not doing any S&C, I probably need to go find an S&C coach because everyone else in that national final is probably doing S&C work. So they're already in front of us. Do I need to do some mindset coaching? Do I need some mindset training so I can stop hindering myself when I get to competition time? What do I need? How am I going to get there? Okay. And this brings us to the next step. And this is the first rule of this process. And it's a very basic rule, and it's either you do it or you don't. That applies to the mission. You either complete the mission or you don't. There's no middle ground. You make sure the expectations are clear and not vague. The more vague you make something, the more likely you are to not succeed it because you're giving yourself a window for failure. If you say, this is what I'm going to do, and it's clear, it's concise, it's not vague, and it's not, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You're going to make yourself line up to be able to get that goal because this is what I have to do. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, and you either do it or you don't, and it's okay if you don't do it. Okay, but that's where you got to reevaluate and say, okay, what didn't I do? And it's not like I tried. Oh, well, I tried. No, you didn't do it. You either did it or you didn't. You need to have this mentality of I either have to do it or I don't. Because if you give yourself options, you will take the easier options. You'll naturally take the easier option. So you need to set the mission, and then you're either going to complete that mission or you're not. This is where what do you need comes into a bit more focus. Okay, so what do I need? What supports do I need? Do I need an S&C coach? Do I need a sports psychologist? Do I need a nutritionist? Do I need extra skills training? Do I need to figure out my recovery strategies? Like, what do I need? Where am I at? What supports do I need? So the supports would be like, okay, I need I need an S&C coach, I need a nutritionist, I need a dietetics, I need someone to work on my mental skills with me, and then what skills do I need? Do I need to be hitting pace more often with a lower stroke rate? What pace do I need to hit? Like, do you know what pace you have to go to achieve the time that you want to achieve? Do you know what that number is? Because if you don't, and then you're doing your pace sets, you're wasting your time because you don't know what you're doing. And you don't know how far you could go. So you need to understand and need to know what's going on. And this is something where you need to talk to your coaching team about to make sure that you have a clear understanding of what you are going to have to do to achieve the mission. Because we either do it or we don't. Okay? And what checkpoints are we going to lay out along the way? And that will go into our action steps. So understanding where you need to improve is vital. You must understand, what is it that I'm lacking? Where do I need to go to achieve what I need to achieve? Action steps. So this is where we break it down even further and we're putting down, okay, these are what I need to work on. These are the skills I need to develop. Okay. When at the mission, at that national, if I want to make that national final, I need to have, going into nationals, these skills, these supports, and these things checked off my list. Then we work back to today. Okay, how far away am I from that? And we make some achievable yet challenging daily training goals, and we pick the most important ones first to get them there, and then we prioritize down what daily training goals do I need to do right now, and I need to stick to create the habits that are going to get me 1% better this week, next week, the week after. So at the end of the year, I am going to be better than I could have been, and I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to achieve the mission that we set out. This can be done in the most easy example is probably underwater. I have people saying, "Oh, well, I could probably, I do free kicks off the wall right now." And I go, okay, well, free kicks off the wall is, not too bad. Could be much better, but are they kicks with purpose? Are they fast? And they normally go around, no, they're pretty lazy. I'm pretty floppy. I'm just kind of doing it to achieve a certain distance. And I go, well, what is the goal? And they're like, well, I want to achieve this time. And I was like, okay, if you want to achieve this time, why are you focusing on the amount of time you can spend underwater rather than the amount of speed you can generate from being underwater? And that's a shift in the mindset. We need to understand what is the outcome of swimming. It is to get to the other end and finish the race as quickly as possible. It is not to spend more time underwater than everyone else. If you manage to spend more time underwater than everyone else, but you come last, no one's going to care. You did not achieve what you wanted to achieve. So you need to make sure that when you're setting out these action steps, they're actually going to get you where you want to be. Doing 5 kicks off a wall is great, but if they're slow, sloppy, and not actually moving you fast and not propelling you into your stroke, then you're not doing what you need to do. So it needs to be clear. Okay? So I turn to them and go, okay, what we're now going to do, we're going to stay at free strokes, free kicks underwater, but every single one has to be fast. We want fast kicks. Okay? And they're like, well, I won't go as far underwater. I was like, what are we talking about? We do not care. What is the goal? The goal is to go this time. To go this time, you must go faster. Being underwater and going slow and realistically suffering some oxygen debt from it is not going to make you faster. We need to go fast underwater, get to the other end, get there. Does that make sense? So that's the process that we're looking at, okay? You need to go, what is the aim that we're trying to achieve? The mission, what are the skills? What are the steps that I'm going to take today to get me there? And don't overshoot these. Remember, these, if you're, your entire season away from the mission itself, don't try and achieve the things at the mission side because they either weren't as big a priority as you think they were because you already got them. So you needed to work on some other things and prioritize them. Or you're going to try something that's too hard and you're not going to make it a habit and you're not going to achieve them. Okay. So for example, if you think you need 6 fast kicks at nationals, start with 3. Make them fast. Make them great. Be really fast at 3. Then you can always add another kick, add another one, add another one. Then you can add some other things once they become a habit and it's just like it's natural for you. Every time you push off a wall, no matter if it's, fast swimming, slow swimming, recovery swimming, nothing, you always hit 3 fast kicks and that habit is now taken place inside of your head. Then you can go, okay, that's down packed. I'm done on that. That's awesome. What's my next thing? What am I going to focus on in training next? I'm going to guarantee that I always hit pace. Or I'm always going to hit pace with this stroke. If hitting pace isn't a problem for you, I'm going to hit pace, but I'm going to do it with this amount of strokes that I've talked to my coach about. And these are the action steps that you put down. I recommend probably only having 2 at any one time because otherwise it becomes too much stuff. So find the 2 things that are the biggest priorities for you to achieve. And they don't even have to be in the water. These could be stuff like I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep every night. Because I've recognized that my recovery sucks and I'm only getting 5 hours of sleep and I need 8. So every night I'm going to make sure I get 8 hours sleep. Okay? And again, you either do it or you don't. If you do 7 hours, 55 minutes, you did not get 8 hours. You do not get a pass mark for that. Okay? What brings us into rule number 2, and that is you never miss twice in a row. So it's okay. I understand that you're probably going to miss it once or twice, or 3 times, 4 times, probably a few times, to be honest. You're probably going to have a few times where you're not going to get it. Okay? And that's okay. But you'd never do it back to back. So for example, if you take the kicks off the wall example, you pushed off the wall and you're like, oh, damn it, I lost focus there for a tiny bit. I didn't do free kicks. I just pushed off and started swimming. When I get to this wall that is coming up, I'm going to make sure I get my free kicks back, and then I'm going to do it again and do it again. Not I did it twice in a row. This is important. This is essential for us to progress these, because if we start laxing on this stuff, we're then going to leave ourselves open to not achieving it the way we want to, and that's going to mean that the habit is not going to be formed, and we're going to hold ourselves back. By doing it this way, we guarantee that we're going to have above 50% most of the 90% of the time, okay? And that's going to make sure that we achieve these habits and get these habits quickly as possible, so we can move on to the next thing and progress and progress and progress and progress, okay? And the last thing and the third rule, and this is super important and something that you should take with you everywhere, is be accountable. Don't just create these rules in your head and don't tell anyone about it. Write them down in your training diary. Tell your coach, tell your team, make sure everyone who is important knows about it. Tell your fellow swimmers, okay? And always remember rule number one, what is, you're either going to do it or you don't. So you can either do this process or you don't. But if you do this process and you live and you kind of focus on these rules and these steps, you are going to get better. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, guys, that's how we turn these goals into actionable steps, so we can actually improve. Thank you.